What's up, everyone? It's DJ JesusBeats on Side Hot 316 Radio, Freethinkers Radio, and also WKWQ 100.7 FM, the soul of the city. We're live here on the show right now, going on Facebook Live. And listen, tonight's topic on inside the DJ JesusBeats show is get your facts before you speak. Get your facts before you speak. All right, well, welcome to everybody to the show. And listen, we got our last bit on the show for tonight before we wrap things up. But I wanted to finish up everything with just going into our main subject tonight. And the reason why I wanted to do this is because for some apparent reason in 2017, with technology and with the advance of technology and with what we got with technology, we seem to be very disconnected from learning how to use the technology to get our resources, get every information that we possibly can, and make sure that what we are sharing with the public and what we are disseminating amongst our peers and our friends and anyone else who sees what we got to make sure that we are not we're not sending out bad information. Let's put it that way. So listen, the subject of tonight is get your facts before you speak. And the reason why I want to do this is because for a series of events that has happened, we have always, even as Christian believers, we have jumped to conclusions, and we allow the media to, and the media, when I mean by media, I mean the mass sources of media. So whether it's television, radio, podcasting, or whatever, or the celebrities or popular people or whoever we follow, or even our immediate friends, we jump to conclusions when we see a post on a video. We jump to conclusions when we see something, and because of the third party that puts it on there, we automatically think that that's facts. That's the reason why I played Aaron Cole before this with the song Facts, because I wanted us to understand that you got to get facts before you start going off on the deep end, before you start addressing something that you're going to get out of hand where you realize that you made a mistake. So the perfect example I'm going to use, since it's the most recent one, is Pastor Joel Osteen. And for those who are listening in, this has nothing to do with bashing Pastor Joel Osteen. And this has nothing to do with me endorsing him or putting him on a pedestal. This has nothing to do with me being a member of Lakewood Church or in Houston, Texas, or me being a fanatic. It has no affiliation. I'm just going to address facts on the situation that transpired dealing with Hurricane Harvey until when the media and the public outcry came in. Well, the public outcry came first on Facebook and social media. Then the media got involved, and it became, the Christians got involved, and it became a whole smorgasbord. Look, I'm using words that y'all should understand, right? It became a, Judge Judy always says this, it became a kerfuffle of unlearned, quick to judge, rush to judgment, quick to speak, slow to hear. That's exactly what it was. Quick to speak, slow to hear moments that was going on. So let's start off with what's transpired, okay? I'm going to run it down a little history, and then we're going to go right into the meat of it. All right, for those who hasn't been on social media, okay, just recently the other day, Pastor Joel Osteen was called out by the media masses on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, every social media site for apparently not opening his doors to the victims or the people who were displaced by Harvey in the city of Houston, where everything was flooded and people were challenging him and saying, hey, you should open your doors up, yada, 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 right? So let's fast forward. Well, the media went on to it. They gravitated towards it. TMZ, TV One, CNN, Fox News, Everybody was all they were just eating it up because the social media said this guy is wrong. The Christians got involved. Well, listen, I don't want to say just Christians, but just to lump sum it up, those who are in the faith will start getting involved and start saying, hey, he's wrong. He's a heretic. He's all this. They call him every name in the book, right? He's a prosperity preacher. This is why we don't follow prosperity preachers. This, that, and the third. I mean, they were going in. I mean, this dude, you might as well give the title to Barabbas again. So all this was going on. Pastor Joel Osteen had to go on to the news and news networks and say, hey, look, that's not true. This is what the situation was. There was actual proof that the place was flooded, but we had some unbelievers, or what I mean by unbelievers, I don't mean people that's not, I'm not talking about saved or unsaved. I'm talking about unbelievers that believed the story, didn't believe the hype. We had a guy that went down there with his cell phone video camera, recording on Facebook Live, and recording around the building, pulling on the door, saying the door is not closed, it's not open, they're lying to you, it's no floods, and so forth, right? So everybody, now the Christians now that was debating about this, started saying, oh, well, I guess now we got to change sides because I think he's lying. Once again, one thing I've always learned is wait till you get your facts. This is why the topic is called Get Your Facts Before You Speak. So they didn't do their research. And with Google and the World Wide Web, you can do a lot of research to find out the information. So here is the facts. Okay, let's go at it. All right, let's go. Little did people know, Harvey was not the very first hurricane that came through and did a mass destruction, as opposed to what the news and media was saying when they said that the last time they had a hurricane like that was back in 1979. Wrong. Wrong. Facts. Let's get facts. It did happen in 1979 that there was a hurricane back then. But guess what? It was actually more recently. There was another hurricane that came almost 12 years ago. And it came actually in, let me get my facts again. Okay, actually not saying, I'm not 12 years ago. Actually, let's see. It came in, okay. Back in, let's see, let's put it this way. This is about 16 years. 16 years, there was another hurricane that came into the city of Houston and flooded the city of Houston just like it did with what like Harvey did. But Harvey was just a larger storm. How many of y'all who live in Houston remember Hurricane Allison that came back in 2001? Tropical Storm Allison came through in 2001 and caused, which brought the, in Harris County, it brought Harris County, which is the county of Houston, which Houston is in, it brought them to a halt. The storm entered the Gulf of Mexico in June 5th, 2001, and the sun didn't shine in Houston for days, at which point the Texas heat and stagnant floodwaters combined for hostile humidity, usually found in much more exotic locales. So back in 2001, Allison came through and flooded up Houston. So let me get all my facts together because I got to make sure that I see I was highlighting a lot of stuff. So I got the notes, y'all. This is facts now. Okay, this is not DJ JesusBeats is making stuff up as you go. So I'm reading out here. It caused severe flooding. Allison began as a group of thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico, and it made landfall twice. First near Galveston, and again in Louisiana. And then, of course, in Carolina and Pennsylvania. This storm would actually travel all the way through. And let's see, thousands of homes and vehicles were destroyed. Approximately 95,000 vehicles sustained $450 million in damage in the county, making the used car market dicey for a year or so. Damages to area schools were estimated at more than $250 million. This happened during the summer, so kids were out on break. Some residents were left homeless for some time. The Texas Medical Center was crippled during the storm, and much damage was done in that area. Damages exceeded $5 billion, and 28 counties were declared disaster areas, and units of the National Guard, Coast Guard, and even regular Houstonians rescued more than 7,000 people back in 2001 during this storm. So what does this have to do with Pastor Joel Osteen? Well, let's go. Okay, so that was 2001, right? So during that same time with Hurricane Allison, Pastor Joel Osteen, Lakewood Church, everybody knows about Lakewood Church because they know that he bought it. But what was Lakewood Church before Pastor Joel Osteen purchased it? Well, back in 2001, the same time, there was a massive flood in Houston. Floodwaters that poured into Houston's compact. It was named the Compact Center. That was the arena that they were at that Joel Osteen purchased. So floodwaters poured into Houston's Compact Center Friday night and engulfed the floor level and forced the postponement of the game between the Houston Sparks and the Houston Comets, which was the WNBA game. And the Compact Center is a 26-year-old 16,285 seat facility located in Houston's Greenway Plaza district. The arena's floor level is about 12 feet below street level. Key word here, y'all. 12 feet below street level. Storm sent water runoff during pouring down the service vehicle ramp. Sunday morning, the Compact Center looked more suitable for water polo than basketball. The basketball floor, which was destroyed, was under 4 feet of water. Key word here, 4 feet of water. Yet building officials said that they had a backup floor available and were hopeful that they could drain the arena and make repairs sufficient to allow the Comets to play Portland on Thursday. So this was also at the same time in 2001 in June when Tropical Storm Allison dumped all that rain, and the Compact Center was the original center for the Houston Rockets and the Houston Comets, which, again, let's look at it now. So let's go and let's fast forward 4 years later. In 2005, the Lakewood Church congregation moved into the building formerly known as the Compact Center, and before that, the Summit, the venue where Houston saw most of the best rock concerts, whatever. And Pastor Joel Osteen, they bought it in 2005 after $95 million in renovations and much political wrangling. The church moved into its new 16,000-seat home on July 16, 2005, a church home complete with miles of carpet and indoor waterfalls. So here's the facts about that. That's the facts that I wanted to address to everybody on here. This is why we have to be smart and not just jump to conclusions. So for those naysayers who said that this man's church, that he didn't open his doors and that he just there was no flooding at all, you got to remember, it's the actual center itself used to be the Compact Arena, sits 12 feet below the ground, which means that when you're looking, that guy that went around the building and showing his cell phone video, he only showed you what he wanted you to show you. But there's a service ramp that he was by that goes all the way down where there's under storage parking. And that whole area was flooded. And if you go into the sanctuary, now I can't speak for what was inside the sanctuary, but there was water damage because they had Pastor Joel Osteen and the whole ministry did back in 2005 do $95 million worth of renovations. But even with all the renovations that you can do, with a storm of that magnitude, with Harvey produced a lot more rain and a lot more areas that were covered in flood. So you fast forward 16 years later, and a bigger storm comes through, dumps all this rain and water. Where do you think the water's going to go? Houston is like a bowl. It is like a big bowl of soup, and there's only so much where the water can go. So I'm not here to sit there and say Joel. I'm a big advocate for Joel Osteen or anything like that. All I'm here to say is that for me, as what I do, I err on the side of caution, and I always get the facts. So this is what we are looking at, folks, is that for those who are pointing the fingers and just saying that the guy just doesn't care for the people, that he's just a prosperity preacher, and that he didn't open his doors. There's a whole reason why he didn't open his doors. The whole reason is because, number one, when you're 12 feet under in your arena, in your main sanctuary that's 12 feet under, and the main floor, that the floor level where the church sits on, and everybody's kind of like sitting around the arena, but there's a floor level. That was where the NBA courts were at, and that was under 4 feet of water. So I'm not here to sit there and say that there was water damage. I'm just here to sit there and say that with all that situation that went on, there has to be a thorough walkthrough and evaluation of the building before you start putting people in there. Because let's just put hypothetically in there, if he had allowed all those people that were going in there who were evacuating from their floods in their homes, put them in there, and all of a sudden water starts coming into that building, and all of a sudden now there's more damage. Wouldn't you be blaming him for not heeding the warning and not taking the time to check the building before you start putting people in there? So that's the wise thing he did. He did wisdom. And not just only him. It's not just only him, but it's a whole complete staff of people. So they had to evaluate the building. Now, here's the other facts that was also that he mentioned that was facts also. About 5 blocks down from where they're at, there's the main convention center, which holds more people than his church. So there were people going there, and it wasn't packed yet. And then they have other centers around the city that was taking in people. So it would be wise not to just put people in there yet until he wanted to get the all clear from the city. And that's what the wisdom is when it comes to things like that. And somebody just said they're from Texas. They said they had a grand total of 9 trillion gallons of water dumped on them. Everything was underwater or almost underwater. This is where people don't understand. That's why I said Houston is like a bowl. We're like in the low country here, so we do sit low. So even if a category 3 or higher comes up here, most of this stuff is going to be underwater too. But Houston is like a bowl, so it was just it's just sopping everything up. So there was no way for the water to go. Their water infrastructure, their drainage infrastructure is shot, and the government still has to deal with that. So all I'm going to say is this: when you start doing your research, get the facts first before you start doing your stuff. Don't just go off of what somebody else said, Susie Q said, or Johnny P put up there on his Facebook page, or so-and-so, and you believe that it's law. You got to be careful about these things, because it's going to come back to bite you. And that's all I got to say about that, y'all. Use wisdom. Use your wisdom when you're going to things. It's easy to get caught up in emotion. And for those who haven't been, if you don't live in Houston, you've never been involved with the hurricane like most of us have here. All of us have here been involved with hurricanes. But I'm talking about if you've never been involved with the hurricane, you've never been involved with the flood, you've never been involved with having your homes damaged or being evacuated or being put in a situation where when you come back after the waters recede that your home is gone and all your possessions are gone, then you can't sit there from the privacy and the convenience of your home computer or your smartphones or tablets or whatever you're using to use a digital keyboard and be the serial gangster, a keyboard gangster on there and thinking that you know everything. So until you've been through it, then you can speak on it. And don't make hypothetical or speculations about what you don't know. If you don't live in Houston, you don't know how Houston is. For those who live in Houston, they know. There's people that live in Houston that haven't been on one side of the city, but all this stuff is happening right now. So let me give you a little bit of encouragement scriptures right now that's going to help out with what I'm just talking about. Let's go first into 1 Corinthians, the 13th chapter, verse 4 through 6. All right. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not speak, does not seek its own. Love does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. I want to share that with y'all because I want to make sure that when we're talking about things, we need to talk about things in love. And that's why I didn't call anybody idiots or say stupid things like that, because that would be me contradicting my own self. But I do want to say is that sometimes when we speak, we also need to speak in love. We also have to speak in truth. And that's why I spoke in facts. But facts always outweigh the speculation. Because when there's facts and there's documented proof and you know that it lines up with the truth, then you can't argue against the truth. The truth is exactly what it is. And this is why I titled this message for that, because you need to get the facts before you speak. But when you do use your facts, you do it in love and you speak in love. And love does not have, like I said, love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. And that is what I want to share with you guys also. But let me go into Proverbs, because Proverbs is filled with so many helpful small one-liner scriptures that will help you out also. But I want to read from Proverbs 18, the 18th chapter, verses 1. And then I want to go all the way down to verse 7. So Proverbs 18, 1 through 7. Let's start with 1. A man who isolates himself seeks his own desire. He rages against all wise judgment. A fool has no delight in understanding, but in expressing his own heart. When the wicked comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes reproach. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The wellspring of wisdom is a flowing brook. It is not good to show partiality to the wicked or to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for blows. A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. So I want to share with those. I just want to share with you that Proverbs, because what I want you to speak, what I want to share with you guys is we have to be careful on how we say things and how we go about it. And unfortunately, for those who participated or partaked in speaking negatively about the pastor, and listen, I put my personal feelings aside about what I feel about a certain person. But in this case, there were more Christian believers who focus on the man's theology than focusing on the fact that in what was going on in the state of Texas was what we happen here and other places that involves a tropical storm or a hurricane or whatever, that there was lives that were lost. There were people who were displaced from their homes. They lost almost everything. And we focus on a man about his theology. And I'm not here to question it. I'm not here to debate about it. You have to go and see it for yourself. And whatever decision you come to, that's between you and God. But for me, I put all that aside because at that moment, there were people who were suffering. And I don't know about y'all, but when we were evacuated, that was like the longest 3 days that we got evacuated out the county. Well, actually, no, it was 3 days. It was more like 5 days that we were evacuated out the county, because we left like on Wednesday and didn't get back home until about Sunday, or I think it was Monday morning. I think it was Monday. So that was a lot of days that you're away from your home, and just praying that everything was okay, that no trees fell in the house and stuff. But these people had to deal with the severe flood. And there's like thousands upon thousands, hundreds of thousands of homes were displaced. Almost 40-something lives were lost in this storm. And the last thing I want to debate about is about Pastor Joel Osteen or this person or that person about their theology. Because at the end of the day, I'm not worried about that. The most important thing that I could speak about when it comes to a natural disaster and hurricanes and storms like this and tornadoes and anything that is controlled by the weather is that when destruction happens, everything that people were debating about and fighting about comes to a halt. That means if you were fighting about racism, if you were fighting about the Confederate monuments, if you were fighting about the president, if you were fighting about the economy, if you were fighting about paying taxes or gay rights or civil rights or Black Lives Matter or White Lives Matter, all rights, the alt-right, the alt-left, the NAFTA or ANITA, whatever they call themselves, or any other thing that was being a distraction, all of that got put to the side when the moment that them floodwaters came in to your home and you had to evacuate, and your neighbors, and you were helping your neighbors, and you were helping the loved ones, and the Coast Guard was coming in, and the National Guard, and the military, and people were helping you, snatching you up from your rooftops, and all those things came to an end. And then when the majority who did make it out were transported to the shelters and to the safe zones and the places where they can recover, you were just surrounded by different people of all walks of life. That was in a city that's filled with 6.2 million people, that the majority, almost like about close to, I would say at least about 200,000 plus people were removed from their homes. And it's more being plucked. And all these people were put into these safe, shelters. And they had to learn how to get along. At that point, you didn't worry about who was right, who was wrong, your skin color, my skin color, all this and that. All you worried about was that they were thanking God that God spared their lives. And it didn't matter if they lost all this stuff. Some people just grabbed whatever they could. But that's an example of how in the midst of a storm, God will still get the glory and he will still bring people together. Even if people don't want to be together, you have no choice but to be together. So it doesn't matter if the guy that was carrying around the Confederate battle flag or the battle flag from, the Confederate battle flag, or if the other guy was wearing a Black Lives Matter T-shirt or so forth and so forth, the combinations didn't matter at that moment. Those people came together. And that's what God is trying to show. I'm not sitting here saying God sent the storm to do that destruction. I don't know what God's intentions are. Things have to happen. But I will tell you this, is bringing people together. So instead of all of us fighting about a pastor and what he didn't do and all this other stuff, I'm just addressing the facts now. The facts are over with. Now the next step is, what are you going to do next? So there are communities, there are organizations out there that are looking for people to either volunteer, to either help or financially contribute, or you can contribute through giving clothes, whatever else. So check with your local organizations in your community, in your cities, or in the churches, and find out how you can be a part of that. Nobody has to know how much you give. You don't have to brag about it. We don't need to know about how many celebrities are getting together to collect all this money. I'm not worried about what Kevin Hart and all this stuff doing. If they want to do it, that's on them, and I applaud them if they're doing it. But nobody needs to have this feel-good moment of thinking that the more you contribute, the better you are. That has nothing to do with it. It's not going to open the gates of heaven for you. You're not going to get that written in the book of life. You're not getting all that stuff. The only thing that matters is what you can do, and that's it. If you only got $5 to your name and you give it, that's for what you gave from your heart. Nobody's telling you to do anything or give above and beyond. You do what you feel in your heart you need to do. But right now, people need help, and that's all I can speak on. I'm not here to be the advocate. I'm not here to be the spokesperson. I'm just sitting here saying that there are thousands of people whose lives were just changed in a series of days. We had people. Chris Chicago was evacuated from. Who knows? Anybody who knows Chris Chicago, and I chopped it up with the other guys. DJ DMD is doing good. Earl Harbor, DJ Easy's doing all right. DJ Nonchalant is okay. So I'm checking with all my brothers and sisters out there. Sean Christopher, he's doing great. Him and his wife are doing okay. So there's a lot of people I personally know that live in Houston, and they're doing all right. So just keep everybody lifted up in prayer, but also try to make a difference. So instead of speaking about negative things that's going on and what you believe and what you don't believe and calling people this and that, put your money where your mouth is. That's the challenge. But other than that, y'all, I have exceeded my time. Let me go and get up out of here, y'all. I got to go home and just relax. But before I go, I just want to say this. We celebrated 9 years of. I celebrated a 9-year anniversary with my wife Samantha, my amazing wife. I thank God for blessing us with 9 years of marriage, and I pray that those who are going through a marriage, that if you're celebrating an anniversary or you're about to achieve a milestone, that I pray that God continues to watch over that. I pray for all my married folk out there who are still, who've been married, whether you've been married for 40 something years or you just been married for a short time. I pray for y'all, and we'll be back next week for another live show. Listen here, next week we're just gonna do a top 10 countdown. I haven't done one in like two months, and I'm gonna try to get either Mr. Philip Patterson, or we're gonna try to get my dude Tito from the Big Estate. We're going to try to get from Bountiful Word Ministries up on here also. So we're going to try to do a lot on here on the show, get some live interviews on here again. And without all that being on the hearts and minds, let me just close out in prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank y'all for watching over the people. Watch over these people in Texas. Watch over the families. Watch over the people who are in this place. Lord, I pray that you continue to present the miracles that have been bestowed upon you, Lord. And I pray for all those who can give and contribute. We pray for watch over the people who's traveling to Houston, traveling to the hard hit areas in Louisiana and other places to rescue these people and save their lives. Let's watch, Lord, please watch over the law enforcement, the military, and those who are volunteering. Keep them safe, Lord. Keep them grounded. Keep their strength up. Keep their energy up, Lord, that they'll be able to pull miracles from this, Lord. And I pray that those who have been spared their lives will be able to seek salvation through you, Lord, that the recovery and cleanup will be thorough, Lord, but it will be able to be back on their feet, that they'll be blessed with a new home. They'll be blessed with things that they need, Lord. And Heavenly Father, I pray from this situation that it opens the hearts and minds of those who are not in the area, that they might be able to learn from this situation, learn how to have grace, learn how to extend a helping hand, and learn how to pray, and learn how that through the destruction and devastation that we all still can give you all the praise, honor, and glory. I ask these things in your name, we pray. Amen. Listen, y'all, we're going to get up out of here, and there's nothing more I can say, but I want to close out with one more song. I can't play this on Facebook Live because they'll block me immediately. But this is Flame. The song is titled I memorize all my songs, but unfortunately tonight I have one of the biggest brain losses here. The song is titled Double Back, which features Thizzle. And I want to play this because I want all my Christian believers to know that no matter what situation we see another brother or sister going through, when they fall down, we pick them back up. When they're getting chastised or called out for in error or slander, this is now the time where we pick them back up, we dust them shoulders off, and we say, no, that's our brother in Christ. No matter what our doctrinal views are, no matter what you believe in, it is the most important thing is that we still have to continue to encourage and uplift one another. So don't ever put your other brother down. No matter even if they got caught with scandal or slander stuff, that's the most important time where one of us needs to be there to help them go through it. Because no matter if they got caught cheating or adultery or even worse, even if there's murder, I mean, they still got to go through the trials and tribulations of it and get judged. But I'm just saying, this is the perfect time where we need to pick our brothers and sisters up and say, look, no matter what the situation is, I'm still here to pray for you. I'm still here to walk you through and get you on the right path. So let us double back and pick up those who are stranded or strayed away or have just fallen flat on their face and they don't know what direction to go back in. Pick them back up and let's double back, and we can do that. God bless y'all. Stay safe. And always remember, walking right produces divine move. We'll be back next week, y'all. God bless.